see right here, this is the kitty cat. That's now a doggo.
Oh wow! Oh right, you have a tablet. I was like, what the hell? How are you doing that with a mouse?
You can do that with a mouse. Oh,
Yeah,
I know you can. You can, but
I guess the level
it's
of detail
harder.
is pretty crazy. It'd be a shame if...
Didn't realize we needed an art degree to fucking do this, but I guess so.
Alright, so I guess people are going to trickle in as we go. But I mean, the biggest thing that I want to go ahead and cover for this is that we poured over logs, and really what we are missing right now is single target damage for command. That's what it boils down to, and ultimately that fell on each of us for not realizing that sooner. Because we all, especially the officers, pushed for this to be a multi-target fight. It's all about the ads. It's all no.
Oh.
I mean, we were missing so much boss damage because we were chasing ads. We were doing cleave specs. We weren't getting the damage on the ads or on the boss that we should have. So I feel fairly confident that when we roll in on Tuesday, after killing Garuthi and Hounds, we will get through High Command fairly easily. And I say that with an asterisk next to it. I don't want to get into the habit that we have had for the past several tiers of, oh, this is easy, and then people show up not prepared because they think it's just going to fall over. I will be doing a pod. All of the healers will be doing a pod. I have no experience with a pod, so it's going to be interesting for me. It might take an attempt or two to get it, but you know, we're going to fucking do it.
Which pod are you doing, by the way?
First. I'm going to be doing the first one. And I'll be doing the first of the two on the first.
Okay. For that one, the key
Alifar
for
have pods?
Pardon?
Does Alifar have pods?
Elifar,
Yes.
I don't know about that, but
Yeah,
I did
you
it on
can jump
normal.
in the pods. It does everything except for the move that kills the bats.
Yeah, so Snoz, I definitely did it on normal. I explicitly logged back in on normal so I could see it myself firsthand. But that said, I mean, it's still, I'm going to need to do it
Oh yeah,
to get the timings.
It's like Amber Shaper back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, once I get there, the biggest thing that I realized, I realized two things whenever I got into that pod, is that it fucks up your camera. So for me, it was difficult to pinpoint where the boss was and then try to target anything else and stay on top of the boss and keep the debuff on the boss. But in addition to that, I did not see very clearly on my raid frames or on my UI how many debuffs I had, how many stacks. So I wasn't aware of when I should be getting out. Now, to be fair, I don't know if normal had a stacking debuff, because you could just stay in there indefinitely.
It doesn't. Heroic doesn't either. It's mythic only.
Okay, so that would be why I didn't notice it. So, but I mean, I downloaded a weak aura so I could get in there and I'll see it. I should be okay on my end, but that said, everybody needs to come in prepared
for a couple of tips for stack count between 15 and 20 usually. That's where you really start to get trucked.
20 is kind of high end unless you're
20 is
pretty strong.
20 is you need a cooldown called out.
For pod 2, you're going to get 17 to 19 depending on when you get in the pod. To put 3 shields down, you're going to take at least 17. At least 17.
Another quick tip from my experience doing it on Thursday and Tuesday. You won't be able to see raid markers that are on the ground. Like, it doesn't allow you to see them. They just don't show up. So you need to know, like, by looking at the markers on, like, the designs of the floor where you need to put, you know, the fell shields, for example, if you're going to be on the second pod. And the other thing too as well is because of how far back the camera is when you get in the pod, the place where you need to put the fell shields might actually be like behind some of your unit frames or action bars. So that's another thing to take into consideration as well. I actually had that issue on Thursday. I put the fell shields a little too far out because the place they were supposed to be put was like right under where my player frame is. So
for you as well, Ari, your number 2 move, which is just you basically put an X on the floor and it shoots artillery at that spot.
Yeah.
Don't try your hardest to use it on the Bladestormy ads. Just always drop it on the Pyromancer whenever it's up. That's the key, is to kill that quick, and it's perfect for that. I don't know about that fight. That fight, I think we've kind of had everything happen that could possibly happen, sort of thing.
I can't draw right.
Yes, that's intentional.
Fuck you.
Does anybody have any questions about what's happening on that fight? I just think one thing as well to take away from the other night is ad-wise, please, if we're in that 1/3 of the room, please be in that 1/3 of the room. Trying to get the ads to shoot out into some other 1/3 of the room or something like that just delays their death, means dots and stuff are flying out. It just means you're lowering the DPS to the ad by trying to pull it away. So long as it's close to the boss and stuff, the better.
One question is, are we still gonna try to do that healer rotation, or do you want to just hold on to the cooldowns?
I think it does not make sense to me to sit on them and just try. I think that we should be utilizing the tools that we have.
I can update website or whatever for you if you want.
I think you were doing an excellent job of calling out what to do, when to do it. I got personally confused whenever I sat because of my internet, and then I came in and we started doing it, and then we stopped doing it. It's if we're going to do it that way, we need to consistently do it that way. You were doing great, and either continue doing it or we need to stop, because it's just too confusing to start it and then not do it the next attempt, and it's... yeah.
Another thing is, especially with priest barrier, it's hard. I can barely see it in the other bubble. So I don't know if it's placement thing that we need to do, or because I'm also worried about people with the pulse grenades or whatever they're called.
So I had one last question about the pods and the pod rotation. I saw a post of an updated pod rotation. Are we considering rotating the 4 healers in the first 2 pods? Because I noticed that we have the first two, the first pod has 2 healers, but then the second pod isn't. I was wondering if we were considering just completely front loading, because we generally want to front load the damage on the boss as much as possible.
Yes. So we're having the healers go in the pod 1 because the damage is not that intense in the first phase, but the damage starts to ramp up on that second one. So we can have a healer go in for the first and then have somebody else go in the second, because the third, fourth, and so forth are going to get more intense as we go. And then on the third pod, Hips and Hitmonlee have been doing an excellent job of doing the getting the emanators down, popping up the popping the bombs, so that way we don't have them exploding on the rest of the raid. I don't want to fuck with that and try to have somebody else try to learn the timings and how to get it done right. That and the damage is going off at that time, so we really should have all the healers out and doing it from there.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think if you need to put healers again in the last bit, put them in pod 4, because you don't get Fusillade, so they can go back in that one.
I agree.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Yeah, but having them go in pod 1 as well makes sense too, just because that's when we lust. And so that's a prime opportunity to have all our DPS available to smash the boss.
Are we planning on going everyone single target, or are we having a selection few single target?
A couple are going to be AoE, but not all. Most
so, for example, I'm going to be
there's definitely better classes. Yeah, I was going to say Demon Hunters are definitely not huge cleave like a Boomkin would be, but we have massive single target.
I was
taking a look at some logs before. At the time, but
I was taking a look at some logs before, and some mediocre guilds that I know because friends are in them. Most of them were single target.
Airy. That's Fort Helps.
I totally ruined Fort Helps. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead and say that again.
I was saying, I was taking a look at this log. Mediocre guild. They got no meaningful attempts on kill Jaden. We're better than them. They only had 3 people do any meaningful AoE. Everyone else, or almost everyone else, was pure single target. Okay. They had their Boomkin and 2 Affliction Warlocks, and then everyone else, their highest damage done was single target damage.
How much damage do they take from Whirlwind? I mean, I'm sure that's not a problem as long as you can take the damage from the Whirlwinds.
Let's see.
Because you're going to eat Whirlwinds as long as they're up. You're just going to eat it. You can dodge it, but you're still going to eat some of it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Shad looked at, and that's one of the things that I questioned, was how much are they taking? Because
they took overall 1 million less DTPS, whatever the fuck that means.
damage taken per second.
Yeah, they were taking 1 million.
Yeah, but you have to look at the time too, because we were 2 minutes over most fights, right? So that's a lot of damage. You have to look at total damage, right?
Mm-hmm. So we were essentially what it sounds like is we were taking less.
I mean, it's the damage per second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we took an insane amount of damage less than we could have accounted for because we were doing so well at killing those ads quickly. But we also had people that were losing uptime on the boss because they were chasing down the ads to get them down, which meant the boss was staying up longer, which meant, it's just, we can afford to take some. Now, that said, fucking dudes going to town on you, move out of the way. Don't stand there and eat that because you're going to piss me off. Get out of the way. But don't focus everything to get it down. Just get out of it.
Hell yeah.
One thing as well from a DPS standpoint, we're still not doing it. We didn't do it on that night. Please, for the love of God, please kill the bats. It is not, and before anybody says anything, it is not a DPS increase for anybody to swap to an ad that's going to live for 10 seconds. There is no class where that is going to increase anything. It's going to suck for all of us, and we all have to do it. So there's some people, like there's some melee who are miles ahead of other melee, like tens of millions of damage ahead when people are doing like single million damage numbers, which means you are not even you're not even clicking on that ad's health bar. You are literally just every now and then accidentally cleaving it. That's all that says. So there's people in the raid, a vast majority, who are not doing it because, it stays up for 10 seconds. And we saw it a lot, when Sove goes in there, his pod, he gets kicked out because we're not doing it. Myself, all of us, we need to get better at killing that ad. It's not fun. It's not nice. That's the mechanic. We need to do it.
I agree. It's all about priority shifting here. And
the thing is, Sove is just like, he always has something available for it.
Well, but it's instant damage too. Like you can't expect the warlocks to be doing huge amount of damage to that. That's really going to.
I'm not expecting huge amount of damage, but what I'm expecting people to do over 4 million damage to the ad.
Well, I mean,
I think that's a fair thing to ask.
I'm not swapping the drain.
When I was taking a skill, their highest, surprisingly enough, was only 230k on the strike. Sove was at 407.
Yeah, he was soloing it basically.
It's because nobody else was on it. If it had died sooner, then it wouldn't just be him on it, which means his damage on it would be lower.
Their second highest is 169 and 167. Our second highest is 234 and 211. But it's just, when Sove goes in, they're not a priority, and they just go down.
Question about the pod.
Oh no, I'm on the wrong...
So, say I'm on the pod, because my frame, how it's set up, I can't hit the bats, I can only hit the boss, and like the ads. Is that a problem?
Are you talking about like the buff?
Yeah. Well, no, because I know in the first pod, you get an ability, I guess it one-shots the bats.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, with how my stuff's set up, I can barely see where the boss is, to where I can apply the buff and put the damage on the ads. I can't see the bats.
By the way, you cannot, this is the thing. You will be able to click on the boss and stuff. The bats for everybody, because you're so zoomed out, you literally have to click on the bat. There's no health bar, there's no nothing for them. You have to click on the bat. Like I don't have a health bar or anything. I just have to try and click the bat, which is a pain in the ass. But
like I can't see them though, because that's how my setup is. Like my raid icons or wherever shows like everybody, like their health and stuff is like right there. Like, you know what I mean?
To be fair, no, I know what you mean. I think
that's why
I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest with you, because like our DPS should be doing it. For me, that's a get out of jail free card. That button there.
Because like last week, I just kept doing everything on the boss, and the ads would come stacked.
At least for the first pod, we really shouldn't have to worry about it too terribly much. At least that's in my opinion, because all the ads are just getting nuked, because we have Lust up, because we have all of our CDs up, because we're nuking the shit out of everything. If we have to use it on a bat, I think that something is failing somewhere.
I know Maverick said it resets the cooldown. I think it's of like your number 2 ability though.
Yeah.
Which does a shit ton of damage, but at the same time, like, I don't know how big of a difference it would be.
What pod are you in?
I'm in pod 1, second time.
Yeah, so it's going to be me and then you.
I think you and I should not use globals. Or
It
maybe
doesn't. That won't be too. That's not crazy then, because so basically your number 2 move is the artillery thing. Then yeah.
Yeah, it's just a ton of damage, and it plays. Like
Yeah. You're just doing it to kill the pyromancer. We're not having issues with pyromancers. The pyromancers for us die super quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think just a couple things to go over again is, for me, I have a 3-minute cooldown. I know a lot of people have a 3-minute cooldown. If you do, please don't pop it at the end of pod 2. Wait until pod 3, and we're going to nuke it, pour it all into the boss, because that's what we're losing. I was using, and I saw a couple other people are popping the cooldowns and trying to get rid of those ads left over. We don't need to. We have a whole pod time to get rid of them. So just save it, pummel it, and drain it into the boss.
Yeah, something I've been doing for the bats that I'm going to continue doing because it seemed to be pretty successful for doing bat damage is I have mouse overs for all my dots. So I mouse over agony and UA them, and then if necessary I'll switch and drain them as well. Usually don't need to switch and drain them unless it's looking like it might not die in time. But that was like getting me consistently, what was it, in like the 20 to 30 million damage per pull on the bats, which is decent for an Aflock.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of like the kind of thing we want to be doing.
I remember what I was going to say earlier. I forgot. I think the thing to look at for bats rather than damage is active time. I don't know if you looked at that or not. I think that's probably more important to see like who's actually.
Can you link it?
Does active time count spells cast on them when they're not targeted then? Because like my mouse over macros then wouldn't count towards that, right?
If you dot it, you are active.
Okay. Cool.
Let me look.
Somebody else color that. I'm bored.
I can't color. I can't even draw.
You can. Your thing's tiny though. Look how tiny your dick is, dude. Like you need to look at mine. Mine's like oh my god!
But it's not letting
quick
me,
to force untouchable. Don't come in my fort, please. This is my fort.
So,
get your big dick out of
here. Draw. This is fucking.
Here, I'll link.
All right, can we go to the next boss?
Hold on. I'll link this real quick. The active time.
And I need to do this too.
Just I'll link it.
Health pots.
Doing the high command.
Can we all just agree to use health pots? I know I only used one.
And health stones.
That's,
yeah.
That is active time best to worst.
Okay.
Yeah. So like not to pick on Tent on here, but that is somebody with an instant cast, 1 global cooldown thing. Who's at 0.77.
He's only in for half a year as well.
Yeah, but still, that's.
I'm only looking at one pull. Looking at data for the entire night's kind of useless.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, I could cherry pick things, sure, but I'm gonna take a look at our best to see what most accurate parallels are. 10%.
Oh, whatever we do, we have to take with a pinch of salt because you're looking at numbers and trying to.
I would have even said that. I would have even said that looking at multiple pulls over one would be the opposite of cherry picking.
I mean, I assume everyone performed just as well for every pull. So
yeah, the idea would be to see trends over time.
The point of overall is just to see where everyone is. Basically, like it's gonna average out over the night. If you say one, you are on it, and the next play you don't do shit. You're at 50%. You know.
But then we also have we have 80% pull wipes and then 10% wipes,
and it'll still average out. Though.
Yeah, because it's as a percentile rather than it's proportionally based. That said, though, there are other factors that could kind of skew the results a bit over time. In terms, like for instance, if someone wasn't in for half the night, or like Drode, I think you switched your spec to be like completely single target or something like that halfway through. So those kinds of things, like differences of approach.
But yeah.
Okay. But yeah, like if something like that happened, that might skew some of the overall data, but it can still be useful to draw some general trends, I find.
Right. I mean, I was still trying to AoE when I could. Like, say when I got a free thrash, like, and the ads are up, like, obviously I'll use it just because
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't.
But no, I know what you mean. Like when I was in my AoE spec, I was specifically hitting them. Like I was thrashing and brutal slashing. Like just to make sure.
I mean, these ads, Blizzard has purposely made them to be an annoyance because you can't, so for me, my Sunfires and stuff don't hit them. They'll hit every other ad, even if they're in that 10-yard range, it does not hit them because they just want the ads to be separate. It's like the fell explosions in Mythic Plus used to be. You can't cleave onto them.
You
can cleave onto them now?
My Thrash is hitting bats.
Yeah, my Sunfire doesn't do it. I asked, so it'll do it if it's on the melee side and if the boss is literally on them. If the boss is not literally touching that ad animation-wise, then it won't.
It's probably the boss is a small hitbox and the bat's probably a small hitbox as well.
Probably.
One of them don't have a good radius.
Yeah, I'm able to cleave my Seeds of Corruption onto the bats.
By the way, I don't want to... sorry, I'm sidetracking a little. I don't want to get stuck anywhere. Did anybody have any other questions for this boss at all? Or
are we still running shit to the right?
I think it's grenades. We're just
like melee and boss positioning. I think that was.
I believe.
So yes, so that Hips. I do see their point in that. It is a pretty decent DPS loss to run clear across the room. The benefit to it is it keeps all the bombs grouped up. It keeps the way clear, so that way, it keeps the way clear to get through. But the big concern, and I agree with Hips here, is we can't have everybody going to the right side because that's where the melee is going, and we have melee and ranged all clumped up. You're going to hit somebody.
Pretty much that. I don't, honestly, I freaked out there, but I don't give a fuck where you put the fucking bomb, as long as you're not cleaving 5 people. If you're making the decision that this is okay, that in my head, I'm fine to... And the person who did it, the one that really pissed me off, the person got it, moved there, sat there for the whole duration. For all of 3 or 4 seconds, he didn't even try to move. He just sat there and went, oh, well, hopefully this is good enough because I'm against the wall.
Yeah, but I think at that point, person with it should sort of get to the back or the side and just stay there and let everybody else get out. You can't judge what 15 people are going to do. If you run into 15 people, you just stand still and people can get out of it, as opposed to one guy running into a different person, then into a different person, and then into a different person. It's silly to try to expect him to run into a group of people and have, and make room. They can all just... You don't have the bomb, you can stack on each other. You can get out of that bomb space. It should be your responsibility to get out.
But this is the thing, there was mines there as well. This is my point. I don't want to get bogged down in this, but basically this is it. As much as people want to argue it, it was not the right call. I wish I had the VOD for you to show you, but this guy literally took 2 steps to the left, was against the wall, and said, that's it for me. He could have easily ran backwards. There was room to go backwards and out the whole thing, but he went to the left so he could keep DPSing on the boss. Everybody on the right has about 6 mines that everybody complained of that night. They don't want to weave through mines. So he had the opportunity to make a better judgment call, and he didn't because he decided to be lazy. That was what pissed me off, and that was my point, is that's not acceptable.
Who was it?
I don't know.
Let's not go there.
I'm not going to go into it. So.
The person who did it, I guarantee you, knows that they did it, and there's 0 point in getting the rest of the raid team riled up and angry at that one person. They fucked up. I guarantee you they knew it, especially after the little shit fit that Hips through, which is very well deserved, I think. Now, that's done. It's done. It's over. Move on.
If anybody asks, by the way, it was Shad.
As well. Oh yeah, Shad.
I want everybody to yell at Shad.
But that said, there is a argument that somebody had said, on Odin. On Odin, you had to trust that the person with Expel Light, you have to trust that they're going to get out of the group. But you also have to be aware, don't stand in the edge. If you're right on the edge of it, and it's obvious that that person has been trying to move, you don't know how much time is left on that, scoot on the other side. If they're running east, move west. Just go in opposite directions. Get out. Be safe.
No, pretty much, and I think that's kind of to Rick's point. There is it falls on everybody in that circle. Everybody can see the circle there. So it is what it is.
That's not an excuse.
Yeah. So he fucked up, and
somebody else should have double bad to actually stand there and get hit by it.
Well, I know, but there was at least I can look through the logs. I think there was at least 3 times when I was trying to get out, and the person ran at me. So I mean, like we're not going to sit there and have a 5-second conversation on, okay, I'm going to go left, you go right. Oh, there's 4 people over there. Like it should be, the bomb should be doing as little movement as possible. It should be everybody else's responsibility to get out of it. It's a visual. Doesn't matter the time. You see it, you move. You know it's not moving. Get the fuck out. Like it just creates so much confusion and so much unneeded jibber jabber with people when you're trying to get out. Have one person dodge 10 people that are standing around. It's very counterproductive. I mean, it's not. I mean, it is what it is. If that's what we're going to do, we're going to do it. But you're having one person.
By the same token,
Snow, what are you doing? Are you literally like saving a life or something right now?
He's performing surgery on the booty.
The counter argument to that, Rick, is instead of having one person move, we're having 20. Everybody is reacting, so that's everybody else moving.
But you're not having one person moving. That's the misconception. You're not. When one person moves, he's going to run into other people. Almost all the time, almost every attempt, he's going to have other people. So now you're having, maybe it's 1, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 5 people. Then he moves again, and then it's another 5 people. So it's not one versus everybody. It's everybody as opposed to everybody having to move more than once. If the bomb isn't moving, the 5 people that have to move once, they're out of it. They don't have to remove again. I know what you're saying, Ari, but you're creating I saw it so many times. Like me and Kazdan were I don't know which hunter it was. One of the hunters was at the back, and the 3 of us were playing touch bag all night, trying to get fucking out of each other's way. And it was I mean, it's part of the fight. I get it, but having to try to adjust for somebody else is goofy if they're not going to stay still.
Fair enough. Do we have anything else on this boss?
If everybody moves around each other, I think it's a mood issue. Just be somewhere safe instead of standing in. Don't go run in the middle of melee and try to pop it. I mean, just be smart about it, really.
Do we have any questions for this boss as well?
Complicating that.
Hello.
I think we nailed it. Nailed it, Inhaler.
Yeah, just I guess healers and DPS that go in the pods just need to communicate with externals. I know Matches was helping Hitmonlee with pain suppression or whatever. I have Sack, and we have 2 druids in there for Ironbark, because I know people in the pods, Canada especially, was dying just to lack of healing. So if you need an external, just be vocal about it, and we can have a rotation going in.
Yeah, I mean, if it's feeling sketch, don't be afraid to ask for something. Now, that said, we should be healing them. I don't like going to see, actually, I had a, what am I thinking of? Here, just link what I found. This here is a little telling, and we should be able to be a bit better about that. We as healers all need to be healing the target that requires it. I linked that in Healworks if you didn't know. Whoever has that psychic, what was it called? Psychic assault.
Yeah.
That person needs to be healed. There's 0 reason not to heal them because they have to be focused, especially as they get higher on stacks.
Other than that, I think that's everything for the boss.
Yeah. And we're going into this boss quite in depth, but just remember when we get there, it's very simple. Don't stand in mines. Make sure the ads are dying. Make sure you're not just focusing ads. We do need to kill the boss. I think I was talking to Vemp earlier, and the rough goal is I'm seeing a lot of guilds do 25% plus on the first pod, and then from then on around 20% for the rest, and that's a pretty healthy kill time.
We generally want to kill him before or by around the end of the 5th pod. If we're going to the 6th pod, for more than 10-15 seconds, that's probably a bit too long.
So Portal Keeper. Does anybody have any questions for this? People who were in the group, like Snow, Drode, and everybody. Oh, Drode, you're not going up, actually. You guys all know what to do?
Hell yeah, dude. Go on the portal, heal the people on the portal, come out of the portal, heal the people out of the portal.
Oh, man, you got it down.
Maths.
Don't
Quick
get
maths.
hit 2 DPS.
And if you die in the portal, it's Ares' fault.
Yeah.
I don't have interrupts as a paladin. Only shamans are the healers that can interrupt. Dude, don't start. I mean, I can arcane torrent. I don't mind holding that. I'll do it. I'll be fourth.
One thing I'd like to ask as well is being on the when we get there, if you can, for me, if you can just take a look and see if you could solo heal that.
I mean,
if you feel safe and do some damage, then yeah, we'll pull somebody down. Because I don't, as much as Shad says too, I think we can probably even swap Brian for a DPS.
I think starting the night off, maybe a few pulls.
Just do 2.
Just have me solo, and if I'm struggling, then maybe throw them up. But I'd rather have the extra DPS because I'm very confident I could solo heal that.
And another thing as well for me is what was it? I believe so. The big damage happening downstairs is when you go in a portal, it activates, right? And therefore, it's going to start doing ticking damage or just like AOE burst to everybody on the main platform. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, it does increasing ticking damage while the mini boss is up, and then once the mini boss dies, it just deals us like a flat amount from then on out. Yeah. But of course, each platform adds another layer of said stacking damage.
Yeah, so yeah, and everybody with debuffs, I'll just go over it quickly. The first platform is the red guy. We want to take 3 green debuffs to his platform because he has a shield on him, and that shield lowers the damage taken by like 3 times whatever, 33%.
Yeah.
So you blow it up on him. Yeah, you blow it up on him, it gets rid of it, and then you nuke him down.
These debuffs?
Anybody can get them, but obviously it's got a timer on it. So you pick it up, I think you have like 15 seconds or 12 seconds or something like that to get there and be on that boss, so you blow up on him. So obviously we want to lower that. I think Vimp and Canada Rick will be dropping, or hopefully dropping, Warlock portals between each portal there.
Yeah, so we'll have a portal between, we want to have one between green and red, and then one between red and purple. I think that's what we want.
Yes, that sounds right.
I think
that's what we had discussed.
Do we have a strat for Eonar too?
Eonar, I don't know. I think I can link it. Basically, I don't know how many of you have looked into that. That WeakOr is insane. I've basically done that.
Pretty much does the fight for you.
Yeah.
Zodi's helped me with that, and they've got a custom WeakOr. It shows you exactly where to be all the time and what to do. They have some of their own personal names in it. I have gone in with Zodi. I have taken their names out and put our raiders' names in. So
okay.
I've done that as well. My one worry is that it might overlap with some Paraxis groups. I don't think it does, but it might do.
It might do.
For Portal Keeper, for healers, are we using cooldowns for when everybody's grouped, or because I've seen groups do like use a cooldown when half the group's still in the portal, and then I've seen some use cooldowns when everybody's down from killing the portal.
I think we can use minors whenever it's half of a group, and use the majors for when. I mean, so long as the coverage is happening.
Because that one, I feel like we can't really have a specific order in cooldowns. I feel like it's just going to be a communication thing.
I feel like the big, the hard-hitting healing bits will be when we've got a mini-boss going, because you got the ticking and she's still doing her explosion.
Yeah, I mean, so whenever I had first created the healing cooldowns, I had gone through and I had looked at the damage output and when the damage was the highest and overlapping. So the highest overlapping damages is when all 3 portals are pulsing, obviously, but it gets more hairy when you get the second, and then, of course, the hairiest whenever there's a 3. And of course, add on the collapsing void, which is what she does, or collapsing world, or whatever it is you call it, on top of all of it. So you're going to have to layer it up and have everything up going into the very last bit, especially after that third portal's down. What Shad had linked me was a every few seconds, every collapsing void, there was a cooldown of some sort. So I went ahead and built a healing cooldown assignment based upon that, to his specifications based upon what they had used. So priest cooldown, then wings, and then guidance. Like everything was outlined. I don't think we need to do that, but we'll see what works best for us. I am absolutely game to go as Brister has proffered from his previous experience, is have somebody like you have been doing with High Command know what's coming up, know what's available, and kind of call it as needed. Or to be a little less stringent, say, the next big one I'll get, the next big one after that you'll get. Just have a loose, adaptive, organic flow to it.
So I had a question about Portal Keeper, or I guess more of a kind of confirmation of my thoughts on this. So I noted, and this is kind of more of a specific thing to myself and my role in the fight. So I'm going to be going in only for the second portal, which is, I believe, the poison portal. And so I'm guessing I probably want to spec single target with a bit of cleave.
You'll want seeds for if you're staying down on the main floor.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the ads they die quick, but if we're leaving 4 down.
Yeah, they definitely need to die.
Like you're gonna have enough time where you're gonna be able to get a couple seeds.
Seeds them. Okay. Not Phantom Singularity, because they how frequently do they come out?
I mean, I don't know. It's a personal choice. I guess you can. I know they're using a lot of them are using it for heroic because they die so fast, but I would play it by ear and see if they die quick, then you switch over.
Okay.
Are we doing heroic or are we starting mythic this week?
We are doing mythic this week. Heroic is now an off-night activity, so that means do it on a Wednesday or Saturday or whatever day works. Just ideally get it done, but it's going to be something that we do on our own time, not on the raid time. We need to be focusing on our progression right now.
The other thing, I guess, relating to specific choices for that one, maybe this is a conversation I can have with Rick separately. You guys don't need to be involved in it.
Okay.
I mean, it's not
Good
that,
talk.
it's more that I just don't want to waste you guys' time hearing me talk about boring Warlock Theorycraft.
I mean, we listened to Brian for like a year and a half talking about boring Boobkin Theorycraft, so.
Boobkin?
Exactly.
Hell yeah. Sucking on the teat.
Oh, God.
Hell yeah.
But that fight is just literally I feel like Portal Keeper is going to be a fight where it'll feel like it should have been heroic. Big things, if you are downstairs, you are interrupting. You are having stunts, interrupts, everything on your bar to stop those ads. I watched Future wipe to that for an hour because they would not interrupt it, and we will do the same if you do not prioritize interrupts. It's not another thing where we can get through with Soph just carrying us on interrupts.
Where did that come from anyways? I was stopping interrupts both weeks.
Does
that's from the other one.
Work on them?
Yes, knockbacks, everything work on them.
So since we're having like Typhoon and whatever that
Typhoon, Ursol's Vortex.
I know Disc has
Totem.
that ability.
Disorienting Rush.
We should get through it fine, but just in case, make sure. I don't want to look at interrupts and see people haven't interrupted. Like, please make sure we understand that is a huge part of the fight on Mythic.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand, looking at logs, though, that interrupts aren't the only metric
to
gauge that. If we have CCs out, that's just not going to be reflected on interrupts.
No, I know, but just generally, just make sure.
Make a focus macro.
Make sure you're doing everything you can to stop those ads doing whatever they want to do.
Hey, Brister.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm
going
to be
totally
going
go and check out our flock mod. I mean, we have some excellent strategy planning going on there.
Does it rival my own?
Yeah.
Where is it? Did you draw spaghetti?
It's an eye.
Wow. I mean, it's a little bit better than mine. I don't know.
Does anybody have any questions about that fight? It's once again it's interrupts when you're down and dodging. When you're down, by the way, the dodging you're gonna have to do, it comes a lot more often. Like you're gonna be dodging shit a lot.
So
those beams, they happen all the time.
Are we doing interrupt orders for portals, or are we just calling it as we go?
Yeah, we'll set it up. So it'll probably be you melee, and then the tank up there will do the big one. So Bristol, you'll do that big one like on heroic. And then the 3 melee would do the...
Okay.
So, I mean, the cooldown order is going to change, of course, based upon attendance.
Get inside me, Drought. I don't know. I've been trying to figure out how to draw for like the last half hour.
Well, come on, it's easy. Just get a tablet. You're done.
If we can
get all the way in.
Go ahead, Rick.
If we can get that interrupt order real quick at the start of the night, though, because it's going to. I'm sure a lot of people are going to try to use Cephus if we have to. Like I know if I need to interrupt or I can interrupt, I'll use Cephus going in the portals. But if I'm not going to get to and melee or dicking me on it, I'll do something else.
Understandable, yeah.
We'll make the cooldown order once we get in there and know what we have. So I mean, we have 3 other bosses that we're gonna plow through before we get there. We'll have an idea as we go what we're gonna roll with.
So, are we done with this one?
This boss?
Yeah, and we don't need to talk about Eonar either, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Do you guys know what to do in the Paraxis?
Interrupt and heal.
Interrupt, heal, and healers go find the yellow orb.
Yeah. I found I think I linked to it. There was a
I saw that
timestamp video of a perspective that goes inside the Paraxis, which was neat for those who have not seen
it. Is that Red Paladin?
Yeah, Bran, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, from BDG. Yeah, it was definitely very interesting. But as you said, that there are multiple spawn points in the Paraxis as far as where it is, so you're going to have to kind of take a minute to figure out where the spawn points are and look for your color. So we just need to make sure that the people who are going in, which is going to be everybody at some point, know what color they're gunning for. So I, as a healer, need to go for yellow. Melee need to go for such and such color. Range for another.
Yeah, we mentioned that in the. I can't remember what the exact specifics were, but I think range to like.
It's in the
last
thread.
2 colors. Yeah.
You want to do red or green? Basically, blue and yellow have to be a melee and a healer. The other 2 can be... Red has to be a ranged, and the other one, green, can be whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the Paraxis as well. If you're in a Paraxis group, you're saving your... As well, this goes for Portal Keep as well. If you're in the Portal group, you're saving CDs. Like, your whole thing is killing that Paraxis. There's no good time to nuke anything on that fight or save a CD for anything. Lust on that fight, I think you used on like the last, what are they called? The guys that look like robots. Not the big, not the big
obfuscators.
No, not the big, not the big guy
purifiers?
either. Yeah, purifiers.
And here I found it. Vamp, you said have a healer get the yellow debuff, melee get blue, ranged get green, and ranged get red.
Yeah, I said ranged green just because it could be anybody, and we'd probably have more ranged, but it could be anybody to get green. But then, as Hip said, it would definitely want a ranged on red.
Yeah, we have in specific groups, not for the Paraxis, but when we're outside. Like,
yeah, it'd be like Heroic Group 1 and Group 2, so you split the raid in half. On this faux guild thing, by the way, it'll say Group 1 and 2. I've obviously assigned you to that, and then every now and then it'll count down. Give you 15 seconds and it'll say what's coming up. So it might say Group 2 top, and then it'll say Group 1 bottom, and then it'll do another slash and it'll go back group. I've made a back group as well. I've made a Group 1, Group 2, and then it'll also do custom things where Beacon, you are one of them. You are in like a custom group, and so let's say you'll be in Group 2, but you with 3 melee will break off from your group and you will go mid, because you don't need to tank there, you just need to clear up those ads. The most deaths I see on this fight are either A, people in the Praxis not killing it quick enough or finding their thing quick enough, or B, not being near a healer and just running off and dying.
What are the timings on the Paraxis? Do we know?
They are specified in the weak aura, but the timings for the Paraxis itself, I think it's at like the first minute, so like at 1 minute in.
Okay.
And then I can't remember if it's every minute thereafter or like every minute and a half thereafter.
All right.
What fight?
Just take some getting used to.
We're on Eonar right now.
Okay.
So I think Drode has this all in VOD, so everybody make sure if you weren't joined us from the start, take a listen to that. Feel free to go check out our beautiful drawings. They're very relevant.
I can't fucking draw. I'm a circle again. What? Hell no.
There's a very lopsided, very strange looking penis, maybe.
One thing for Eonar as well, just so we all understand. The goal of the fight is we want Eonar to use her Life of Eonar, whatever the fuck the move is, 4 times. Then the fight ends. Every time she uses it, she does huge damage to every ad on the map. Mm-hmm. So if it's a small ad, she'll do basically half their health, or half to 75% of their health, depending on what they are. If it's a big ad, it chunks them for like 30% and stuff. So I want to try and find a weak aura that shows that. And the reason being is sometimes you won't need to go all the way and kill that ad. Let's say we get a pack of Fellhounds. You just do your starting bit to them. They get to 80% health. You can jump off them if she's about to explode soon.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I noted that when, like, obviously my notes are in the thread are old since we're using a slightly different group order. But you can see like 330 on the bottom, the ads will get nuked, so you don't even need to focus them. You just kill I think it's a purifier that spawns there. Mm-hmm.
And even in that weak aura thing by Foe Guild that I put in, there will be points in that thing where it'll tell you it'll say let pass, and that means you just damage them a little bit, let them through, and they're gonna die on the way because she's gonna explode in a second. The way she gets her energy to do that is every time we kill a demon, it gives her like a percentage towards her energy bar. But yeah. Paraxis group, make sure you're interrupting the ad as well. Hilo dispelling this shit, and you are saving your CDs for Paraxis group, so please make sure you have it up when you're going in there. I don't think the big ad that seems to be the trouble, I guess, is the purifiers. They have high health and they do a lot of damage and they cleave in front of themselves.
One thing to note about them is that you can sidestep the cleave.
Mm-hmm. It like picks a direction, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so tanks will have them facing out. They'll be priority. On the little ads, make sure I don't want to see people just going in there and DPSing. This is a fight. It's a tower defense. Slow, CC, stun, whatever you guys have, do it. The more time we keep those ads in the same spot and stuff, the better.
Would you prefer Cap Totem or Earthbind? I would say Earthbind.
Earthbind, probably.
Yeah. On a 15-second shorter cooldown too, so you'll get more of them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Perfect.
I just wanted to double check.
But yeah, this week for me personally, I want to go and I want to smash it, and I know I've put enough work in that I'm comfortable on every single fight. Yeah. I've looked at the fights a lot.
One question, I saw you put the Eonar weak aura, but don't we have to have your version of the weak aura hit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll grab it now.
Send that to me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In case you're not, I know you're going to be late. I'm sure you'll be here before we get to there. But if you're late, I'd rather, because you said you've already put like stuff in it.
Are you possibly able to log into the game and link it so that I can download? Because I remember we were having issues with our specific edits that we made when we were trying to link from the WAGO link rather than the direct link. If you guys recall that from our Fallen Avatar week order that we used.
I think the problem with the Fallen Avatar is that a certain someone, this other shaman that we had, didn't delete the sender aura.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, okay.
So
I mean, hopefully you're here by then, but just in case.
I was totally gone for like that whole bit.
I
had an accident.
Just talking shit about you.
You know what? You can't have dick pics anymore. Fuck you.
It's okay. That's what the internet's for.
That should
all
be
the dick pics I want.
They're gonna throw in dicks.
This internet is taking your jobs, man.
Okay, I got it, Hips. Does only one person need this version, or does everybody need
No,
this
everybody
version?
needs it. It's just a teleprompter, just so it'll say now, like on mine it says now, Paraxis number 1, group 1 bottom. Then it gives you the big ad if it's in there. And then it'll go, so mine says now, group 1 mid, there's a purifier there to nuke, slash Paraxis 1.
Pastebin?
I have. I sent it to chat, to Shad, so you can post it in the...
Yeah, I'll post it real quick.
Wago.
He did. It's in a Wago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do that.
Just throw it. Yeah, just throw it in the Eonar. What you sent me. Yeah.
He's been sick for like 4 days.
If somebody who's really smart at looking at timings and everything like that can look at this week or look at the Praxis group and stuff and make sure we're not going to fuck anything, because it's a headache and a half. This fight is for timing. This fight's all timing. It's pretty, like, Smoke's guild that he's in now did it in 1 hour. So with this week, or they did it in 1 hour. So it's pretty quick and easy. And they're far worse than we are.
That said, though, guys, don't roll in like we've had a habit of doing. Oh, this is easy. I can just show up without doing any research whatsoever and expect it to fall over. Because that has proven that we start getting upset at each other, that we start getting snarky and angry because, oh, it should have fallen over by now. Why? Oh, it must be this person's fault, or they did this wrong. It's like, don't fucking do that. The biggest thing here is be prepared. When we're prepared, then it falls over. Because it is easy because we're prepared.
Okay. So, where did you enter people's names at in this? Or you didn't? It's just groups. It's by groups. Okay.
No, it'll go to names as well. Let me find.
Yeah, just show me where it's at. So if I need to adjust names, I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so if you go actions and then expand.
It's under and actions and expand. Okay, yeah, I'm in there.
Yeah, if you scroll down and you see all the stuff in yellow writing, every now and then you'll see, like, I think the first one that comes up is probably the one that says, it's just a cluster of words that it's going to look like to you. It says melee/beacon ding, ranged area, infinitum.
Okay, let me copy this to Notepad. Screw this shit.
And those are the timings next to it. So second 1, second 15, second 38, 48, 60, 65, 95. I'm pretty sure those are the timings in seconds for when stuff happens.
Who erased my top layer? You suck. It's okay, somebody else finished coloring it in. I got a cat in my lap.
Oh yeah, I see the names there. Range/area/infinitum, melee/beacon ding, Shad, beacon ding, snow, Danaman, Tentanax.
Okay, yeah, I see them.
And the names can swap out and stuff like that on the night, which is fine. But I just wanted, because they had their names in there, so if we're going to use this, I wanted at least our names in it.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to see, because like if somebody's not there, you know what I mean, I can edit it quickly.
It essentially falls into, it's not just random names, by the way. I'll show you what me and Zodi. It essentially falls into 4 groups they had. So they had a range time Diesto, they had a melee Anavel, they had a Tyrone Anavel, Takomi, Zoom, and Crit. So there's 4 different personalized groups that they used. So the range time and Diesto I swapped, and that is now ranged area and infinitum. The melee Anavel is now melee and beacon ding. Tyrone, Anavel, Takomi, Zoom, and Crit is now, pretty sure that's Shad, beacon, and then a couple other melee. I basically watched their video, looked at whose name was whose, and then I swapped those people in for our people. So I tried to keep the classes the same. So Crit was their warrior, so Crit is now 10 ton, which is our warrior.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Trying to emulate it as much as possible. But
yeah. Not everybody's name's in here. Some of it's groups, but then there's some names. Okay.
Yeah, it's mainly groups. Like, you're mainly going to see group 1 and 2, and then you're going to see Paraxis. But as the fight gets longer and goes further into it, they start to have subgroups. I was thinking of them as break off from their main group and go do something else.
Right. Yeah, because sometimes the tank, even though, like, even on heroic, we noticed that I would fucking go mid when I needed to, like, go top, or no, I'd go top but then mid had something to tank. Top just had the structure that I fucking don't tank, but mid had the thing I do. So this kind of helps. It's just like,
yeah, it's basically groups will break off, and these groups can go to different parts because you don't need a tank there.
Right. Okay. I got it. Cool.
Yeah, the wall, by the way, for most guilds is the fight after this Eonar. That is where we're going to get stuck. That is where everybody is getting stuck for like a night or two, and then they move on to Kingaroth, and Kingaroth goes in a couple nights, and then on to the next couple. But yeah,
the best way to combat that is to be prepared.
So for Eonar, it's pretty. Eonar looks. I'm not going to say it looks easy, but from watching videos again and again and again, there's a couple of things. Is each platform has the same positioning aside from the second one, where everybody stacks his left leg. When he throws the mines down, you move to his right leg, and you move back and forth, and the tanks will be clearing the mines every time you swap a leg. Whoever's the off tank and not tanking the boss runs over the mines and gets a mine debuff on them. So by the time you tank swap, that falls off, and your tank debuff starts stacking up. For running through the things, I think Method did it right, and I think that's what most people have been copying on that fight for the bridge. By the way, the mythic mechanic is you get pushed back on the bridge, and you have to go 4 times.
Yeah, every 20% it spawns, or he jumps.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, every 20.
And he keeps, I feel like he keeps a mechanic from the last time again. So, like, the first time is just like heroic, range spread right around the edge of the room. They do it where range are all along the edge of the room, and then the melee are in the middle. And you know where the bridge starts across? That is where the melee will drop their sleep canisters.
Did he just start talking really fast for anybody else?
Nope.
Sorry.
He might have lagged for you, and then you caught up.
Probably.
Sorry. It's just really funny.
Yeah. The thing as well is every time we go across the bridge, there's going to be about 3 to 4 people with I think it's pulse grenade on their head. You will have to go by yourself. So we'll have the tank in front, the big raid group, and then behind us by themselves is 4 individual people. The reason you do that is because you have a grenade on you. If you touch other people, I'm pretty sure you explode and give them all grenade, and it'll be a wipe. So the trick there is healers, you have to keep these guys up. So most people, usually you luck out and you get a healer picked in one of these 4 people with a grenade on their head. So that healer is just with those 4 coming behind.
Yeah.
But also for us, we don't interrupt the guy until the last second so these 4 can get across, because on Mythic he will definitely fucking one-shot you if you're still on the bridge. What's it called? Yeah, pulse grenade.
I think that we've pretty much covered as much as we can for tonight. We're about 15. Well, I guess we started about 15 late, so I guess it's been an actual hour. So we'll go ahead and recap, or not recap. Sorry, cut it off. Hips, thank you so much for as much effort as you've been putting into this. You really have gone above and beyond anything that I could have asked of you. So thank you. And you guys, thank you for showing up tonight. It really does mean a lot, and it impresses me that you guys are willing to do the extra mile here by being here and helping other people discuss this.
Oh, one thing as well for Eonar. I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's on Heroic as well. When we get there, remember, don't pop your cooldowns when we've come just across the bridge there, because he's casting his move, and this move means he takes 99% less damage. So it's going to look like, I'll remind on the night, but that's the thing I saw in a lot of logs. Are people are popping their cooldowns there on their wipes, because people are hitting berserk timers a lot on this fight when they do that. So
that's a lot of DPS to just throw away.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can see how it happens because people are like, oh, I'm over here, I'm set, all right, I'm going to pop everything because I'm here, and we're all here, and the interrupt's happening, and let's go. But the interrupt hadn't happened.
It's 10 seconds of nothing happening.
You don't know how many times when I get hit by a Varmathus, I hit Frenzied Regen as soon as the big hit hits, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, it did nothing for you.
Even though I know, I keep telling myself it's still, yeah. But, I mean, I make sure I don't. But when we first doing it, it's very hard.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and head on out. I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. Hips, good luck on the promotional interview tonight or tomorrow. Wish you the best. And hopefully you will be back soon.
I'll be... If by the way, when I say late, I mean like probably 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. Nothing